Sure, but I mean, you're talking about a pretty compressed timeline. I think most Americans are thinking this is in the distant future. You're saying it's imminent if it's not addressed.
It looks like, the way I penciled these numbers out, it looks like it's a 3-year type of timeline. And you also have to do the adjustment, the cutbacks, and make that adjustment. You have to do it when things are relatively good. And you have to do it promptly, because otherwise the debt accumulates and the debt problem gets worse. It's like if I'm speaking with you about your heart. I'm a doctor.
All right, folks, welcome back to PrepperNow. Today I want to talk to you about a warning that has come from Ray Dalio. He is a very well-respected investor, and he is a person that knows our country's financial health, and Dr. Dalio is saying that we are in a critical time, and that our debt, if it's not taken care of in the next few years, is going to kill the patient. That's us. So he says that we are currently at about 7.5% of like debt to GDP, or the ratio is 7.5%, and we need to get that down to 3%. Now, he's not talking about 10 or 20 years from now. He's talking about 3 years from now. So first and foremost, I want to ask you to see if you think our Congress will be able to get our spending under control and more than half it, knock it down by 140% or whatever it is, from 7.5 to 3% in 3 years. I honestly don't think it's going to be able to do that, personally. I think some of the moves that have been going on with the administration and trying to get it so our finances and our debt, our spending, get under control, but the problem is there's only so much they can do. You tack on the fact that everything that Trump does gets an injunction against it. I was reading about that. Bush had 8. Obama had 12. Trump had 64 in his first term. I think Biden's had 20 or 30 or 15, whatever. But Trump's injunctions are now literally every week. In fact, he had 3 in a day the other day. This is unheard of. So not only are we fighting against time, we're also fighting against a judiciary that is really trying to hinder his ability to handle the debt and handle the other things. People say, well, it's DEI and it's immigration. Well, if we have a lot of outflow to immigration, and a lot of our spending is going to more and more people coming into the country, that's just going to accelerate the problem. So we are really at a critical point here. I personally think that we are at the end stage. I think we're at the end. I think we're in a place financially, a place on all levels where we just can't claw it back anymore. And it's a matter of time before everything goes bust. I think that's why you're seeing the moves in gold. I think that's why you're seeing the moves in precious metals. I think that's why you're seeing the moves in general. And, a lot of people think, oh, well, stocks are having issues. I'm going to get into bonds or other things. I think all of that's going to blow up in everybody's face as well. I personally think that having physical items and being able to handle stuff in the, short term by accumulating preps and having it so you can handle a tough, honestly, couple decades. I don't think it's going to be a year or two. I think when this thing goes up in flames, it's going to be decades long. And it's going to resemble something like the Soviet Union. I've said this many times here before, where you could see a lot of problems. 10% of the Soviet Union succumbed to their financial collapse in some way by, having to go fix a roof because they don't have the ability or money. Get up there, they fall down, and they break their neck. Drinking themselves to, unlived status, other things. 10% of the Soviet Union had that happen after their financial collapse. So imagine what that's going to look around here. What is that going to look like for people that are on massive amounts of medication? What's that going to look for people that are used to living lifestyles that are really above the rest of the world, and they start to come down and get more on par with everyone else? I think that we are at a critical stage. I don't think it's able to be saved. And to be honest with you, I think that they need to do things now, but I don't think they're going to have the wherewithal. So if they aren't going to do it, you and I need to do it. You and I need to be prepping. We need to be putting food away. We just did the entire weekend. We reorganized our entire preps. I'm going to be making a video about this, but we reorganized our entire preps and made it so we've got things in an organized fashion, because I'm married to a minimalist, so she doesn't like all the stuff, but she understands it. And we put it all together, but we're going to add to it because we have to. Did the video on what's going on with the beef situation. Everything is going to become more expensive. Everything is going to become tougher to get, and our lifestyles are going to go down. We're already experiencing this. If you think your lifestyle is great right now, well, we got more pain to suffer through, and it's coming. So honestly, folks, at this point, I offer no solutions. I only offer a warning, and I hope you will heed it and do the only thing I know, and that is to protect yourself by storing up things now. If there's one thing that was abundantly clear as we were going through all of our preps, is that we bought everything when it was much less expensive 3-4 years ago. I highly recommend you do the same thing. Highly. Friends, if you like what we're doing here, please join us as a member. Consider going to Subscribestar and Locals, a couple bucks a month. Join us on Twitter, Minds, Gab, True Social, X, and keep telling people to get ready, because it's happening. What's one thing you're doing? What are you doing to get prepared? And do you agree with me? Are we at the end? Or maybe we're going to get lucky and everything will work out. I'd love to know from you. Check us out on the Crisis Report and other places online, and we will see you on the next one. God bless.
The United States will run a deficit of about 7.5% of GDP if the Trump tax cuts are continued, which I expect. And that deficit needs to be cut to 3% of GDP, must be cut to 3% of GDP. All policymakers and the president should have a pledge to get it to 3% of GDP, because otherwise we're likely to have a problem.